Hello, fellow page chewers. We are back again with Batman Chewing. It's the weekly podcast episode where we talk about the books that we read for the week, and we end the episode with our favorite book. After that, we will be getting back into the X-Men read-along that we're doing, which is the Chris Claremont run that is available on Hoopla and Libby, so it's free to read along with us if you would like to read. We'd invite you to. Today we will be discussing X-Men, Uncanny X-Men issues 132 and 133. With all that, Jarrod, how's it going?
Good. How are you, Steve? I'm pretty good.
Pretty good. Yeah, it's been busy, but it is what it is. So, but right before we hit record, we were talking about you potentially selling off some of your comic book collection.
Yeah. I was kind of wondering what other folks do for selling comics these days, especially when you have when you're picking up comics week to week like we are. Of course, that stuff builds up over time, and
It does.
if you don't weed through them, you're gonna have a what do they call that? A hoarding problem.
Yes, you end up on hoarders pretty quickly.
Yeah. So that's what I was doing over the weekend. I was actually going through my collection, and I kind of know ahead of time because I kind of know which ones I'm going to keep for good. Like the Conan, of course, I'm going to definitely keep all those.
I was going to say, for my cold dead hands.
Yeah, exactly. And so so I had them pretty well separated already, but I always had, over the past 5 to 10 years, I always kind of wondered how I was going to sell these if I ever wanted to go about it, because your local comic book shops are slowly dying away, and the ones I inquired with around here, they're not interested. They don't want back issues. They're struggling enough to survive as it is, and they can't afford to take on people's cast-offs from their collections. Not like in the old days when I used to, like even before I worked for a comic book store, I used to be able to go to any number of stores and say, hey, I used to just bring in a box, say, hey, make me an offer, and they would actually look through it and go, okay, this, that, and that. And it would be a quick down and dirty deal, cash in hand, off you go. Today, that's not the case. So I was looking into it, and I found places that will meet you there and give you an offer for your books. They'll meet you in some, at a place, a public place or whatever. And but the first thing you have to do is download an app and basically upload what you have for sale in your collection. And the easiest way to do it was to actually just take a picture of the book, and then their database would match that picture and would find the going rates for that comic.
Wow.
So I did that this weekend, and now I am waiting for the offer.
You were busy.
I was busy this weekend, yeah. Yeah.
So you mentioned you had some surprises. Which ones stood out to you that when you were scanning them that, like, well, I didn't know it was worth that much?
Yeah, oddly enough, there were some issues from a Red Sonja run that were in the middle of the run. Like, it wasn't like a number one or a number, it was, well, first off, Absolute Batman number one was my most valuable one.
Really?
So I guess that's selling like, it's selling like hotcakes. At just a very good plus grade, which I lowballed the grade on my comics because I didn't want to give the impression that I had any kind of near mint type of deal going on. So the lowball very good grade of that comic was $12.69. So I'm like, that's a good deal for me. But that wasn't a surprise because we knew that Absolute Batman's doing very well right
Mhm.
now, and so that one kind of wasn't a surprise. The surprise was Red Sonja number 77 from the around the 2013 run.
Mhm.
That's like $11 and mid grade, and I think it was like I think like near mint it was like 20 or 30 or something like that, and
Wow.
I was really surprised at that. It was, yeah, 77, 80, 76, and 78 for some odd reason, and I don't know what. Maybe they had a very low print run. Maybe they had some artist who became a superstar later. I don't know. I have no idea why those comics were worth something.
Well, I
It
mean,
was kind of
it was
interesting.
good news for you.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, a couple
and
bucks.
it's a couple bucks, and if they make me the offer, I don't even know how this whole situation works yet. So I'm still waiting on how it's all going to pan out. But it was really the only viable option I could find that was without loading up my car and driving to some store in New York City or something, you know,
Hmm. Wow.
because I don't have the energy to go places anymore. I'd rather people come to me. But yeah, so that's uh, that's what I did, and it was an interesting exercise to be honest. I kind of had fun with it. So
A lot of
was
pictures to take, though.
yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. You have a good phone.
So yeah, well, hopefully you have good luck selling them, and somebody buy it. So will somebody buy the collection, or do they buy individual?
Yeah, that's. I mean, I'm if they inquire, I'm going to say it's the collection of bust. I'm not interested in shipping off individual issues anywhere or anything like that.
Yeah.
I'd rather just I want to get rid of them. I want to get them out of my house so I can have room
Get
for
more.
more.
Yeah. Comics have a way of, you don't really think much about them because they're so small, and like they're so thin. But when you add the bags and boards and you add the long boxes, they take up a lot of space.
Yes, they can.
Yeah.
What about you? You going to sell off any or?
Yeah. I've sold off a bit. I sold off um, various trades over the years. I've either taken into the comic book shop and did consign, or did like trade in, or I think the one that I sold the most of was back when The Walking Dead was just gaining popularity as a comic book. I started picking up single issues because I was reading the series. And then The Walking Dead TV show came out, and of course it became this huge thing. And I was still reading the book, and I think I had issues 20 something through 100 and I don't know something. And I held on to all those issues for a long time, and I finally tried to pick the right time to sell them. So I think I sold them on eBay. I made a decent amount because it was such a popular thing at the time. So I made a decent amount of money with it. I mean, I'm not, Bill Gates after, but it was a nice, decent little chunk of change. But I think that's probably the most I've made off of which is kind of strange. I've been collecting comics for all these years, and that's the most money I've made is The Walking Dead off of a
Yeah,
collection. But
yeah,
just depends on what catches fire, I guess.
yeah. I mean, it's definitely not a get rich quick type of situation.
Yeah. I wonder how many, because I used to notice a lot of people looking through the old issues when in old comic book stores, and it doesn't seem like that happens as much anymore. I wonder if that's as much of a thing as it used to be, as kind of searching for past issues and just picking up a random issue of a character that you like or a series. It doesn't seem like that's really so much of a thing, but maybe I'm just not seeing it.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. Uh,
Yeah, which is
well,
harder for the comic book stores, like you said, because
yeah,
they're struggling to get rid of their new inventory. They don't want to take on more inventory, and they can't get rid of what they have. So
yeah, yeah. I mean, especially today because there's so many comics. so many companies, which is good for the consumer because there's a lot of choice. Whereas back in the 80s, there's a limited amount coming out, and back issues were bigger, print runs were smaller, and you didn't have options to get these things like you do today.
Remember back in the 90s, to find one of those independent books that were you had to know somebody who knew how to get to the. So it was a lot of it took a lot, but now of course it's easier to find things online and
Yeah.
digitally, so which is good. But yeah, there's a lot of options. A lot of options. As we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the many different options.
Oh
But
yeah.
I guess to kick things off, I'm going to start with my first one, which is Buried Long, Long Ago. This is by Mad Cave. Number 5, the final issue. So it felt like most of the plot lines got closed. Things got wrapped up. It seemed like a fitting end, although it seemed very end of a horror movie type of ending, which I guess you kind of come to expect with a lot of these. There there was a lot of background that they started to build in the middle of the series that they started to kind of explore and tease with different side characters and their history, and so it feels like there's more meat on the bone here. I'm hoping that they have some kind of side book, or they explore more in this world, because I think there's more stories to be told here. But overall, it was gory, brutal, disturbing, and there's just I can't really put my finger on what it was that kept it from being great. It's good, it's just not great. And I think if we had maybe another issue or two, or we fleshed out more of the lore and the mystery, I think that may have added to it and give it more depth, more substance. But overall, it was good. I hope we'd see. Well, I hope we explore more into this world at some point. But yeah, overall, it was a good. I'd say a good run, good solid run. If you enjoy horror comics,
And this, you think it'll be collected, most likely.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so. So the hope it gets collected. The art was really good. The colors were good, and I just felt like there were things that were teased that just didn't quite deliver on. So maybe there's more stories planned. I hope so. Anyway,
Cool. All right. My first one this week is Survive, issue number 1 from Bad Idea Comics. It's written by Robert Venditti and drawn by Doug Braithwaite, who did quite a few Conan comics over the past year. So I was interested in checking out his awesome artwork again. And he didn't disappoint. The artwork in here is quite incredible. And it was really interesting to see him drawing a different setting other than a fantasy sword and sorcery type setting. And the story itself, Survive, is basically about a guy surviving a submarine going down. Um, and so it unfolds from there. And there's a lot of tense action scenes in here, um, and a lot of close-ups and him, giving his last goodbyes to certain people and stuff like that. Um, so there wasn't much to the story. It kind of went by really quickly. The artwork was definitely fantastic to look at and study. Um, and but it had a little twist at the end, so I'm kind of interested to see where it goes and see what happens next. And one thing I noticed about these Bad Idea comics, just because this company's rather new in the field here, they're very well produced, very well put together. They got the hard stock
Hmm.
cover, and they also have a little short story, bonus story in the book as well. Um, that's totally unrelated. It's just a totally separate short story. And in this issue, it was a short story, kind of a riff on superhero stuff, and so it's kind of funny. It's kind of interesting. And then they also put a preview of another comic in the back, so it's a pretty thick package. Um, but you are paying, $6 for it, so I figure they're trying to give you your money's worth with what they're giving. So
Marvel, take note.
it was pretty cool. I'm definitely interested in to see where they take this kind of thing. How long can you write a story about a guy on a sinking submarine? I don't know, but we'll see.
We'll see. Submarines are terrifying, though. I mean, just you're
Yeah,
like in a bubble and hundreds of feet below the surface.
yeah, no thanks.
Yeah, I'll pass on it. It's good that it sounds promising, though, or at least to the first issue.
Yeah, artwork is stunning, so it's really really good.
Well, the next one for me is, I know, I know. So the next one for me is King Spawn number 49. So I know what regular listeners of the show are thinking. So what happened with this is that there was a reviewer I was watching that talked about how the King Spawn is starting to go to more of a single, like a contained story every issue instead of it being a part of the broader universe, and it's more of a, you can jump in anytime and you can get your shorts, you can get your one issue story and you jump out, or you can stick with it or whatever. I thought, okay, the cover, of course, the covers are always really neat, but I'll give it a try. So in this one, Spawn is trying to help this random early 20s, late teens person who is possessed. So he becomes possessed and starts doing things and not realizing why he's doing them, and Spawn is helping him. And the whole thing just felt like a complete waste of time. It was not very coherent. It just didn't really flow at all. It's a simple idea, with the execution just, I don't know, I really wanted to like it. I was completely bored with it like 3 pages in. And it just was not, it was not enjoyable. I don't, even with one issue, it was a chore to get through. The art's pretty good. Just the idea of Spawn trying to help this kid who's possessed. It's a good setup, but I got through the issue and I just thought, okay, what was the point? Like, okay, like it just felt like a waste of time. So anyway, yeah. So King Spawn number 49. I learned my lesson once again with Spawn books.
I've learned my lesson once
Not
again.
my cup of tea. And if you enjoy all the Spawn books, I mean, no shade. I just, I've said this before. If you think back on even the Spawn run that's in the 370s now, if you ask an average comic book reader, name one memorable Spawn run or one memorable kind of arc or something other than the first, I don't know, 10 issues. Can you name one that's groundbreaking or that really sticks out and is that seminal run? I other than that, the first initial 10 issues or so, I can't think of anything. I mean, and I've read a few of them that I was told were good, and I just wasn't impressed with any of them. So yeah, it's too bad.
It's too bad.
Too bad.
Next up, I have CalExit, The Battle of Universal City, number 2. And, previously I had mentioned the potential I saw in this book with the first issue. So I picked up the second one to see how that went. And this book, I want to like it, I think, more than I do. And because I just like the premise, and I like I love the map at the beginning that shows the different areas of California that are broken off and proclaimed independence. And but I don't know. There's something about it that doesn't excite me. There's a lot of a story in here, but it borders on um, kind of borders on a little bit on the flippant side,
Hmm.
where it's hard to take the characters seriously because they're kind of just bickering with each other a lot in this supposedly amusing way that doesn't really reflect the weight of what they're trying to accomplish with this revolution. And so it's hard to be on board with them and and empathize with them because they don't seem to be taking it that seriously. And
Yeah.
so I'm not taking it that seriously, you know what I mean? And so I really want it to be better than what it is. Maybe I don't know, maybe it'll get there next issue, but it's like, I don't know, somebody died in the issue, and everybody's just kind of like, oh, well, that's too bad, you know. And I'm like, okay, you know. And then they go Viva la Revolution, and I'm like, I'm not feeling it, you know.
Yeah.
You know, and and the artwork's okay. It's it's detailed, but it's a little bit on the cartoony side.
Hmm.
Um, and so that doesn't help with the gravity of the story that they're trying to tell. Uh, it does help when they're doing social commentary. It helps there because it's showing the absurdity of some of the things that we do. Um, you know, but it's, you know, as far as the the zeitgeist of promotion and companies and what have you. But so it's a really a weird mix. It's really a strange mix. I'm still trying to.
Hmm.
I want to like it so much more than like. But when I'm reading it, I'm kind of like, okay, you know, let's get this over with. But I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna stick with it or not. We'll see. I'm really on the fence.
Oh wow. Yeah, it's too bad. It's too bad when the art, but when it's good art, but it doesn't fit the story.
Mm,
I feel for the artist when that sort
yeah.
of thing happens. The next one for me is Spectrograph number 3 by Distillery Comics. So for those of you who don't know, this is a story about a house with a, let's say, a machine in it, and there's two women trapped inside. I won't give away too many spoilers for those who haven't read it, but our two characters are trapped inside, and they start to share personal details about their lives and about their history. And there's some really great emotional beats in this one. I was impressed with the way that this was executed in this kind of comic, and there are things that pretty much anyone can relate to in some way, and I felt like they did a really good job with it. I was impressed. This book is more well rounded than I expected it to be, and it has more substance than I expect or that most horror comics have. They're going deeper into these characters, and they're not characters you particularly like, but you relate to them. I guess because all of us are imperfect, but so yeah, it's this book is a mix of horror, suspense, drama. It has a good, it's pretty well rounded, and I'm excited to see where it goes. It was nearly my pick. My pick was just a little bit. It had a little bit more impact on me, but yeah, Spectrograph, really good issue. I'm impressed.
Yeah, I enjoyed that series quite a bit. Quite a bit. Good stuff. And up next, I have Powers 25, number one. The return of Brian Michael Bendis and Mike Owings series, independent comic book series. Um, and I think they're saying it's one of the longer running independent series ever, but
Hmm.
Um, but I don't know how long this series has been a hiatus. I can't remember the last time I read it, but it was very interesting getting back into this world of Bendis, of superhero detectives. Basically, the you kind of get thrust into the future of this world from whenever they last left off, and they talk about some of the characters that used to be in the original series as being. I think it was like a quarter century. I think that's why it's called Powers 25, because they kind of synced it up with the year now and the
Oh,
time frame that's gone by as well in the story. Um, and so it's very interesting leaping into the future of this universe, and I didn't have too much trouble getting into it because it's an all new story, so you don't really have to know the whole history behind the whole run in order to enjoy the book. There is, I'm sure there's tons of Easter eggs in there for the long time readers, but all you need to know is that the main character from the previous series is kind of like an icon now. He's got statues to him in the city and stuff like that.
hmm.
Um, and one of the other main characters is still a detective on the force. So, and now she's a grizzled veteran, whatever. but um, but other than that, an interesting setup. It's set up like a crime story, like a detective's crime story. There's a murder, and they're trying to figure out why and what happened, and it involves
Hmm.
powers. That's the whole premise of the book. Um, and so he goes right back to that formula. It contains your trademark Bendis dialogue, which, if you're not used to it, can drive you a little nuts. Um, so be prepared for that. Some people like that. Some people like that kind of realistic where they're cutting each other off and stuff like that, and you don't really get a full sentence out of them. You have to kind of guess what they were gonna say, and it might not even be relevant. Just like real conversation. So, and that's what he's trying to pull off, here. And so I know some people don't like that, but if you do, then this will be the book for you. And Oming's artwork is what he does best. It's a little cartoony, but in this case it definitely fits the story. So, um,
Hmm.
not bad. I liked it.
Nice. Yeah, I haven't jumped into any powers because I was concerned about the continuity in history. So I didn't know if that's something that's accessible for newer readers if you have to catch up. So that's good to hear.
Yeah.
The next one for me is Whatever Happened to Crimson Justice, number 4 by Mad Cave. So will Crimson Justice return? Who is Mayhem? Who is he having imaginary friends? In this issue, we find out some of those answers. And I won't give too much away, but so in this issue, it's it doesn't feel like the penultimate issue. There's one more issue to go, and at the end of this issue, it just feels like there's a lot that's not even close to being wrapped up. So that always concerns me when it feels like it'll be a mad dash to close all these different storylines and make sense of all of it and have it all make sense at the end. I'm concerned with this one. It started off with a what felt like a deconstruction of superheroes, like Watchmen esque, and now it's gone from that that felt it felt like a book that took itself somewhat seriously, and now it just feels more predictable and silly. And there's one comment in this book. Those of you who have read it probably know what I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. There's one comment in this book that just had me rolling my eyes. It just was such a stupid thing, a dumb thing for a character to say to another character, and yeah, it kind of irritated me. It just felt way out of place. So I'll pick up the last one because I'm curious how this all wraps up. one more to go. I'm hoping there's some kind of all of this makes sense, but I'm concerned. I'm very concerned,
Oh,
but
warning bells, ding, ding, ding.
yeah, I've come this far, so yeah.
Yeah, that's like the worst feeling sometimes when you're like, if I just never started this, I wouldn't have to buy that last issue.
Yeah, and I kind of think, okay, so if I don't pick up the last issue and I just forget about the series, will I ever go back and wonder whatever happened to that last issue?
Yeah,
I don't know that I would, but I don't know. It's one of those. It's the completionist in me that
yeah,
you know. But we'll
that
see.
is the curse of the comic book collector. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
All right, I next up I got Cul-de-sac number 2, another comic from Bad Idea Comics, that new company. And this is by Mike Carey and Jonathan Wayshak. It picks up right where the last issue left off. And this is like one of the most interesting books tonally out there, like with the artwork and stuff like that. It really is unique, the drawings in this book.
Hmm.
At first glance, you might think it's a little on the cartoony side, but it's actually not once you really look at it and stare at it. I think that's just the color palette that might kind of veer it that way, but it's really actually a dark book. But I think it's just because it involves kids that you might think it's not as dark as it is, but it's kids on the run from various factions,
Hmm.
and the reasons why these factions are chasing after these kids are pretty cool, just because of their relationship to their parents and what their parents were,
Hmm.
and it's really actually really interesting. Um, I've been a fan of Mike Carey's writing in the past, and it seems like he's really latched on to another creator owned title that he can do what he wants with and do something a little different with the whole vampire genre, which I'm not usually a big fan of, but I think in Carey's hands, it's he's definitely got my interest peaked where this is gonna go, and
Hmm.
and the artwork is growing on me. At first, you might be a little put off by it, just how strange it is, but now I'm really like, okay, yeah, this is actually really good stuff. Uh, it's just a style thing, and once you get used to that style, you realize he's a perfectionist of that style, and so I'm really starting to enjoy it now.
Hmm.
and and there is a bonus short story in here,
Oh,
totally unrelated, and it's by David Lapham.
no way.
Yeah, so that's a nice little. It's a little bonus sci-fi short story, and it's a like a one-shot deal, and so that's pretty cool too. And like I said, if you're worried about the price tag on these bad idea books, you are getting your bang for your buck. So um, it might be up there. Kind of like Distillery has a high
Hmm.
price tag too, but you're getting your money's worth out of those.
Wow, it was just the short story by Lampham. It might be. I'm gonna have to pick that up.
Yeah, I don't know how long they're gonna continue that little short story in each of their comics.
That's
Um,
pretty neat.
it's pretty cool. I actually I like the idea. I don't know if they're gonna have it in every single one of their comics or not, but they are in the two I got this week, so that's pretty neat.
Wow, kudos to Bad Ideas. That's a great idea. Especially getting really good creatives to jump in and do those, not just
Yeah,
wow.
I think Lapham is doing his own book with them uh, later on the year. I think so. He's definitely in with their company, their camp. So
I think Lapham has a new book out soon.
that might be it. It might be from
Yeah,
these guys. Yeah.
I have to check up on that. So, with all that said, it's that time for the picks of the week.
Woo! All right. Yeah, call me broken record. My pick of the week is, of course, Conan the Barbarian, number 24, which is the ending of the Nest of Serpents storyline, and just just a great ending. I thought Conan, he allies with somebody who he doesn't like. That's very Conan like, just to um, get through the conflict he's in, the situation. And what I liked about this ending of the story, that was actually, I felt, was very poignant. Um, there was a very actual there was a touching moment at the end of the story that Conan had with uh, another character that was kind of tragic, and so I actually was like, oh wow, that sucks. But I mean, it was good for the story, but sucky for Conan, but and so I think the writer did a great job of just bringing forth the whole setting, and the artwork is just fantastic. I really like this new artist they got. When you have these nice layouts like that,
That is nice.
it's just good stuff. And so yeah, another banger from Titan Comics in doing a great job carrying on the Conan comic book tradition.
Nice. Yeah, you like what you like. I mean, it's good. It's
Yeah,
good.
I am consistent if nothing else, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. So, like I mentioned, my pick was it was a tight race between this and Spectrograph, but I couldn't not pick Vanishing Point number 4 by Mad Cave. Lots of Mad Cave this week. This one reminded me of of a sci-fi story that we would read in the Big Book of Science Fiction, or an
Mm.
older 70s or 80s type of science fiction short story. So the story is about a manufacturing robot who is questioned on whether or not they are alive, and that goes into a whole kind of exploration of consciousness and life and what that means. And if they are alive, then what then? And should they exist? Should they not exist? All these different ideas that were fit into the story, and it's done in a way that's not full of exposition. It's not wall to wall text. It has time to breathe. It seems very easy. It just seemed like an easy story to read. But when you're done with it, you're left with a lot to think about. It's a touching story, and I thought it was just really, really neat story. It was very clever and poignant, and I love Vanishing Point. I think I haven't been I haven't loved every issue of it, but I love what they're doing with it, and I love the ideas they're exploring and the way that they're exploring them. And every issue, whether I really enjoyed it or just somewhat enjoyed it, every issue leaves me thinking about something after I'm done with it. So that's really all you can ask for. Well, of course, there's more than that, but that's really what those are the ones that stick with you long after you finish the last page. So yeah, I just couldn't not pick it. If you're not reading Vanishing Point, it's an anthology series that you can pick up and jump in at any time and give it a read. So if you love science fiction stories or stories that have a little bit of a twist in it, even this one had a twist in it. I did not see coming, and yeah, just a really good story.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was fantastic as well, and I hope they're able to continue with this level of quality.
Hmm. Yeah, I really hope so. Um, so yeah, those are our picks of the week, and from there we get into the Uncanny X-Men read along. And like I mentioned, this is free to read on Libby and Hoopla. So if you'd like to read along with us, we'd read 2 issues a week, and we are getting closer and closer to the Dark Phoenix saga, which is exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're starting to see stuff in some of the artwork,
Hmm.
some of the covers and stuff, and some of those covers that I'm recognizing, and
Yeah.
it's pretty cool. Um, so yeah,
Yeah.
132. It's kind of funny. They take a little vacation there
They're always on
at
vacation.
at Angel's house. There is they go there to hang out, and I love he introduces his person that the media says were an item.
Oh yeah.
Candy Southern is her name, and I'm just like, oh man, really? That was hilarious.
That was
Uh,
good.
but um, but then you see Jean showing off her power a little bit. She's able to suppress Scott's eye beams from not going off just with her control of her power and stuff, um, and then they Scott takes the X-Men off to infiltrate the Hellfire Club
Mhm.
against Professor X's wishes.
Yeah. That's what I love about the X-Men is that there's always this push and pull between leadership or who leads and whether or not it's the right thing to do or not. I think
Yeah,
seems like they've always done this in some way or most of the time. So I really love that of the the kind of struggle for power between Professor X and Cyclops.
yeah, and I like how they you know in this, but I like it's not just the antagonistic part of it too. It's also that you can tell that they still really care about each other,
Mhm.
and they want to do right by each other. Even Professor X says, "Oh, I wish I could have gotten through to him. I wish I could have. I regret that I didn't do this or something like that." And I think that's just really great character work, and and even Peter having that wistful moment of, "Ah, I got to go back home. I miss my home and stuff like that. Little things like that really do a lot and tell a lot of story in just
Yeah.
one panel.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah, but I like how in this issue too we start to get a better uh, handle on the powers of these Hellfire Club members. We really get a good introduction into what they can do now, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, because we really didn't get a whole lot of it before. Well, we got a little bit of it, but get more of an idea of how kind of manipulative and powerful they can be.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I mean, we knew about Wingard.
Mhm.
We get the big reveal that he's Mastermind, which we kind of got hints before, anyways. Um, and but yeah, but Pierce the cyborg, which I was like, oh yeah, that's right, it's that guy, because he goes on later to form the Reavers,
Mhm.
in the Australian outback or whatever, much 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 further down the road. But I forgot he
Mm.
was part of this original Hellfire Club membership, and so that was pretty cool. And I was like, and I totally forgot about the gravity dude, whatever, Leland, whatever his
So
name
many
was.
weird powers, right?
Yeah. But of course, I remember Shaw. He's the one who can absorb power, and that's pretty cool
Yeah.
stuff. But the real cool thing was what I remembered, that final panel in that book with Wolverine in the sewer there, with coming up out of the water with the claws. That is iconic right
Yeah.
there. That panel is just awesome.
So
That is.
many of those iconic moments. Uh, rereading this and the covers, like you mentioned, the covers and the panels, and so many things that you recognize because you've seen it so many times.
Yeah, and that was just right there. That was John Byrne at his best. He was just so I don't know what it is, but I forget what you call it, but he focused or in
He'll get in the zone kind of thing.
in the
And just,
zone or whatever. Because man, he was really showing off his powers as a penciler at these
yeah,
times, man.
he was in the, he was kind of hit his stride.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, very cool. Um, Man, we really got a we really got a glimpse of Jean's dark side when the into the past in the next issue there when
Yeah,
she slaps Aurora. So it's just
starting to
like,
see the cracks show. Yeah,
damn. Ooh.
it's exciting. It's cool
Yeah,
to start to see things progress, and it's such a slow burn too with Jean from where we started,
yeah,
and just getting worse and worse and worse.
yeah, yeah. And Shaw reveals more of his plan about his purpose for doing all this. He's looking to make more mutants. He wants to control. He wants he is a mutant, and he's quite proud of that fact, and he wants to kind of like Magneto in a way, but
Mhm.
as far as what he wants to do, uh, and that was interesting about Cyclops' psychic bond with Jean and him actually trying to do something with that. Not in the best way, but
Yeah,
didn't work out for him. Yeah, as we end with quite the cliffhanger.
yeah. I know we've been reading, but the progression has been fun to watch. And Wolverine's trying to get more. It seems like Wolverine starts to get more attention or starts to get explored more in these issues too.
Yeah, I wonder if he was starting to like pick up in popularity and stuff, and you could tell he's definitely getting used a bit more and showing off his stuff, and you know getting cutting people's arms off, and
I mean, you have a guy with razor sharp claws that pop out of his hand. It's inevitable he's going to cut something off, right?
yeah, and he's be able to survive being slammed through the floor, and um he's also showing off his tactical skills, as
Yeah.
far as
Oh yeah.
what his plans. He's trying to make sure that the wires are set up to fail, and the he's using his scent to track things, and so yeah, very interesting exploration of who he was and what he can do.
Yeah, I like that. It kind of feeds into his background, and I think it kind of builds the curiosity for what has he been like, where was he trained, how did he learn these things.
Yeah,
So I think that helped with his popularity is the mystery surrounding him, his character.
yeah. So just another two great issues, really. Having a real blast reading these.
Yeah. And if you're listening to this and not reading along with us, you can be reading too. It's free on Libyan Hoopla. So jump on. All you need is a library card to sign up for either one of those services and start reading with us. And we'll be discussing 134 and 135 next week. So love to have you join us and listen every week. Yeah. So I think another episode on the books, episode 103, flying by.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's it for us this week. Thanks for listening as always. Jarrod, where can people find you?
You can find me at the Fantasy Thinker YouTube channel, and you can find me on the Page Chewing forums and at the on the Oscar Project for film chewing as well.
Yes, all those links are down below, all those different places. So click those links if you'd like to find anyone. And until next time, we hope you find your pick of the week.
Bye bye.